Thank you all very much for coming today. Thanks as well to those of you who are joining us on VC. My name is Matt. I'm one of the folks here who works on our space-related products in our 20% time, Moon, Mars, Sky, and so forth. I'm here today with the great privilege of introducing an astronomer extraordinaire who works at the Vatican Observatory, here to talk about that relationship between science and religion and the practitioners of both. Is Brother Guy Consolmagno, who is astronomer at the Vatican Observatory and author of a number of books and papers and so forth, both related to astronomy and to the relationship of science to religion. There are a couple of his books down up front if you want to take a look and learn more about what he's talking about. Without further ado, I give you Brother Guy Consolmagno. Thank you.
Thanks for having me here. And that's the techie question. How does it work? Well, you know, if you're going to talk to techies, you go where the techies live. So in April and May of 2005, I was doing a Jesuit program called Tertianship, which is a kind of spiritual sabbatical that Jesuits take after you've been in the order 15 years or so. And so I actually moved up to Santa Clara University. You recognize this is Silicon Valley. You could probably see yourself there. I spent 6 weeks driving up and down US 101 between San Jose, San Francisco, interviewing friends and friends of friends and friends of friends of friends, scientists and engineers, anybody who said that they'd be willing to talk to me about their religious beliefs or their lack of belief. I probably talked to about 100 different techies at the time. And out of that, I collected 25 stories that are in the book, and I want to share some of them with you. All the names are changed so that I don't embarrass too many people and so that I didn't have to get their permission to use the stories. I'm really embarrassed because one of the people that I wrote one of the stories about is in the audience now, and I didn't ask his or her permission. But that's all right, because I spent the morning with Brian, who's the science comedian. He was complaining about how people still steal jokes, and I'm thinking of all the jokes I stole that are in my book. But these things, you know, one more thing to talk about in confession next week. The names have been changed, and they're in alphabetical order in the order in which I interviewed people. So, it's Tuesday, it's mid-April, I've taken the Caltrain and the BART up to Berkeley, and I'm sitting with Alan and Beth, an astronomer and a medical doctor. They're in a shambling 100-year-old house and some lumpy furniture. House is full of character. There's this explosion of toys and books, only some of which belong to their kids. And Alan and Beth are church shopping. Just like my friends from MIT, they're facing the same issue of choosing a religion for their family. The needs and the desires of the kids are what's driving the issue. Kids are growing up pretty fast. Not a whole lot of time. It's a decision they can't put off much longer. So, what are the product features that you're looking for in a religion? To Alan, the intellectual content of the religion is what's important. Beth says that what she's looking for is more emotional content to the liturgies, you know, chants and drums, that sort of thing. But it's clear that Alan would be put off by bad liturgies and Beth by fraudulent theology. Beth is looking for a sense of mystery, which she says she feels lacking in the Unitarians that they'd visited. Alan was raised a Unitarian. He also describes him as kind of sterile. On the other hand, Alan was put off by the Quakers as being too flaky. Beth notes, maybe that's just the Quakers you get in Northern California. The editor of my book was a Northern California Quaker who got a good laugh out of that. And yet, even to Alan and his desire for an intellectual foundation to their religion, the core beliefs of any given religion are not so much things to be believed as only as things to be not disbelieved, things that are at least not unbelievable. They're not looking for a religion that's closest to the truth. They don't think they can make that judgment because they don't know the truth. They can't make that kind of fine distinction. They just don't want to belong to a religion that's obviously wrong. So, what religions do they think are obviously wrong? I ask them. Since that interview, I've gone around, asked people all over. I'll ask you guys. 2 religions, including the 2 my friends came up with, are always mentioned. as obviously wrong religions in the mindset of a techie? Any guesses? Scientology, number one. Absolutely. The other religion that they thought was obviously wrong, if you're a techie. Mormons, number two. Which is really odd because my thesis advisor at MIT was a Mormon. So it's clear that there are a lot of Mormons who are techies, but for the non-Mormon techies, Mormonism looks really strange. And I think they're used to that fact.